The Strait of Hormuz is supposed to be open. That is the whole point. That is one of the most important shipping lanes on planet Earth. Oil, fuel, fertilizer, global trade, all of it goes through this narrow stretch of water. But Iran decided to turn it into a pressure point. They squeezed the strait, ships got trapped, I think about 850 of them. The markets got nervous, and suddenly the world was reminded of something very simple. When America steps back, bad actors move in.
Right now, U.S. forces are expected to be helping ships trapped in the Strait of Hormuz. It's called Project Freedom.
It comes after a second UK ship is reporting they were attacked in the critical waterway.
Hey, good morning. Well, Project Freedom launched this morning. The president calls it a humanitarian effort to safely guide some 800 cargo ships and tankers and their 20,000 crew members safely out of the Strait of Hormuz. The president says these stranded ships are running out of food and supplies and are merely neutral bystanders in this whole thing. In a very lengthy Truth Social post, President Trump went on to say, for the good of Iran, the Middle East, and
Okay, so you can see the Truth Social post by the president last night. For the good of Iran, the Middle East, the United States, we've told these countries we will guide their ships safely out of restricted waterways. These 850 container ships are basically hostages, or have been hostages of the Iranians, because they can't leave. They're running out of food, running out of water, running out of fuel. Keep those diesel generators running on those ships while they were trapped for the better part of a month. 60 days, 2 months, says what, so that they can freely and ably get on with their business. The ship movement is merely meant to free up people, companies, countries that have done absolutely nothing wrong, innocent bystanders. They are victims of circumstance. This is a humanitarian gesture on behalf of the United States, Middle Eastern countries, but in particular, the country of Iran. So now this has turned into a humanitarian mission. The one thing that he doesn't mention here with Project Freedom is allowing ships to go back in. I believe the president is evacuating the Strait of Hormuz, getting all ships out of that area for something else. Something big is coming, and I think the light at the end of the tunnel is not always the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's a train about to run you over. And if I were Iran and all the ships are leaving the strait, this is another playing card that you are losing. This is another bit of leverage that you're finished with. Once that strait is empty, I believe you could see some real kinetic action like we have never seen before. Do we bring warships into the strait and we launch sea to land barrages? The CENTCOM commander, Admiral Brad Cooper, met with the president on Saturday. He flew to Iran on Sunday and met with Marines on board the USS Tripoli. Is that a little bit of foreshadowing? Am I connecting too many dots here? Four-star commander leaves the president, flies around the world, meets with Marines on a amphibious assault ship full of Marines that are ready to go. Marines hate being on ships with the Navy, period. They want to be on the ground doing what Marines are good at. Is this our next move?
the United States, we've told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so that they can freely and ably get on with their business. The ship movement is merely meant to free up people, companies, and countries that have done absolutely nothing wrong. They are victims of circumstance. This is a humanitarian gesture on behalf of the U.S., Middle Eastern countries, but in particular, the country of Iran. The president warned Iran that any interference with this humanitarian mission will be, quote, dealt with forcefully.
I mean, look here what we've got. We've got guided missile destroyers, I think about 6. We've got 100 plus land and sea-based aircraft, 15,000 service members in that region. And now we're starting to get this little coalition. Other countries are feeling the pressure. Okay.
CENTCOM says guided missile destroyers, over 100 land and sea-based aircraft, and 15,000 service members are supporting this mission. Project Freedom is described as a coordination and information sharing effort to help guide these ships safely through the Strait of Hormuz. The Wall Street Journal reports U.S. Navy ships will not be escorting ships through the strait. The head of Iran's parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee.
Okay, so here's this Iran. I don't even know what the guy's role is right now. We don't know who's in charge. Any American interference in the maritime regime of the Strait of Hormuz will be considered a violation of the ceasefire. Strait of Hormuz and Persian Gulf would not be managed by Trump's delusional post. Okay, so they're going after Trump for his post. No one would believe blame game scenarios. So now we've got a new project that's rolling out today. It's called Project Freedom. This is a U.S.-backed mission to help commercial ships safely move through the Strait of Hormuz and restore freedom of navigation. CENTCOM started this today, so may the 4th be with you for all of you Star Wars people. And it is being framed as this defensive effort to protect regional security and the global economy. And almost immediately, Iran started making noise. They warned U.S. forces not to enter the strait. Then some Iranian state-linked media claimed that they hit a U.S. Navy vessel with missiles near Jask. But according to U.S. officials and CENTCOM, that claim is false. No U.S. Navy ship was hit. The AP ran with this, so did Reuters, but they reported this claim. It couldn't be verified, so the source came out with it, CENTCOM. No Navy ships have been hit. If this were to happen, it changes the entire equation in the Middle East. And I think we go from zero to red line very quickly. But CENTCOM rejecting this claim directly is huge. The other thing you can see here, this is with the AP. They're saying Iran denies, or the U.S. denies, that Iran struck a military vessel during this new effort. I believe this is a real test for Iran. Can they get out of their own way? Can they stop being the problem that they want to be? They have exhausted all of their resources, and they're still trying to control the narrative. They want the world to believe America blinked. They want their own people to believe that they scared off the U.S. Navy, and they want every shipping company, every oil market, every country, depending on what route, to wonder whether America still has the will to keep the sea lanes open. And that's why this Project Freedom matters, because this is bigger than one strait. This is bigger than one ship or one fake missile claim. This is about whether America still enforces freedom of navigation, or whether hostile regimes get to decide who moves, who trades, and who gets punished. And today we're going to break this all down, because what Project Freedom really is, why the Strait of Hormuz matters, why Iran is already pushing propaganda, and why this may be one of the biggest foreign policy tests of Trump's second term. So the entire Strait of Hormuz, we know that there's a bunch of mines in the water. We know that Iran doesn't know where they are at. That's one thing that they have ran with. That's what they've told everyone. But now apparently, if we come to this ceasefire agreement with Iran, then they're going to help the United States remove the mines that they don't know the locations of. So you can see here the leverage that Iran is trying to take, the leverage that they are trying to use. And I think they're exhausted. I think they're out of moves. Here is the X post, or True Social post, from Donald Trump. Countries from all over the world, all of which are not involved, almost all of which are not involved. So he has this little, veiled shot at some of these NATO countries saying, hey, you depend on the goods and services, but you're not going to give us any help with removing what's there. So we can understand how the president works here. And we do know for a fact how much buy-in that these NATO countries have offered, which is zero to little, zero to none probably. And at some point, to get the strait reopened, to get commerce flowing, other countries are going to have to buy in. If not, what happens? I mean, legitimately, that is a question for you watching. If these other companies or these other countries don't take some ownership, what happens? If the United States were just to play the game America first on the world stage, and there's a lot of people chanting that, and we just leave the region, what legitimately happens there? Does Israel just go back to their bombing campaign? Does Iran get a nuclear weapon? Do they control commerce? Do they jack the prices up on oil $500 a barrel? Is that what happens? There's only a couple of real options here. One option is finish the mission. Now, Operation Epic Fury has ended officially. The president sent a letter to Congress saying, the ceasefire and all this other stuff, we didn't violate the War Powers Act. But now by using the United States Navy, using some of the other military assets in the region to control this strait, to regulate who's coming in and out, to continue to put pressure on the Iranian regime, I think that is the real answer. That's the correct answer. Or in this sense, the most correct answer. You can have multiple things be true at the same time. And I think with Iran, it's not necessarily a binary choice of just bomb them back into the Stone Age and then walk away. I really don't think that's the answer. At least I hope that's not the answer. And I believe the president and his staff understand on the world stage that this is the time to shine. This is the time for the president to really separate himself from the last 7, 8, 9 presidents, going back all the way to the Carter administration, that just kind of ignored the entire Iran dynamic. They let them do whatever the hell they wanted, and nobody dare say a word or push back. Well, now those times are changing, and I'm glad to see it. And I don't know how many of you agree with this methodology, how many of you want us to be involved over there, but I hate to tell you, but we are involved. We are heavily involved. There's another story coming out, and I don't know if this is related. I don't think it is. This is in Morocco, so we're talking northern Africa, that there are 2 United States service members missing after some exercises there in Morocco. This is real. I don't understand who or where these service members would be, where they would be at. There's a lot of Muslim contingents up in Morocco. It's a very Muslim country. Could that be on the table? Could these American service members be taken hostage for some level of leverage in and around the Strait of Hormuz? I don't put anything past these bad actors. Nothing. You and I should both be aware of that. Like I said, multiple things can be true at the same time. The Strait of Hormuz has to remain open. America is involved. Whether or not you like it or not, we are heavily involved. I believe we're going to see this through. I believe the President of the United States is setting a precedence for the next 2.5 to 3 years of his term. And I think Iran is running out of leverage at the same time. We've got more false news like this. This seems like this is a daily battle for the United States. Seems like it's a daily battle for the president's administration to fight back on the false news and the false reporting. Now, this is coming in as this video is being filmed right now. There was a tanker hit in the Strait of Hormuz. It's been hit by unknown projectiles. We know those are probably missiles. You can see the red dot here. It is very, very close to the tip of the Strait of Hormuz right here. And this is being reported as true. What does this do to this whole Project Freedom? We have military assets in the area. Are we going to continue to allow this to happen? Probably not. Probably not. The UAE has left OPEC, which could very well be the reasoning behind this retaliation. It's up to you to decide, though. But I think the president is on the right path. I believe that if he continues to just keep this exterior blockade in place and we start escorting ships out, there's no guidance right now to escort ships in. It is just out. We're clearing the area. And what are we clearing the area for? Because that's the real question that I think needs to be addressed. Once we get all of these tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz, do we get back to real kinetic action against the Iranian regime? That's kind of what I believe. And I believe some of his military advisors have led him down this path. And I think it's a good move. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, smash a like and subscribe. Join the channel as a member.